Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Jordan if we don't already know each other, and today we're going to be doing a makeup video. These are all the tips and tricks for everybody, for young people, for old people, for, it's kind of rude to say old people, for young people, for mature people, for dry skin, oily skin, all that. I cover everything. Well, I cover as much as I can. There's so much that we could talk about with makeup. Like, it's obviously not going to be something we can cover in one video, but I think I made some pretty good points. It's not a super long video, so I fit in what I could. I talked a lot. Like, literally hand me an oxygen mask because I was winded by the end of this. I was like, anyway, let's get right into it. Just the preface, I'm in a different place than I am in the video. Something happened with my clip, so I lost the beginning and I lost the end. I filmed the beginning of the video at the end, and so I lost the beginning of the video and I lost the end of the video. But we're gonna act like nothing has happened. Welcome to a 101 makeup for dummies lesson, except you're not dumb. You're beautiful and cool and smart, and let's get into it. I'm gonna get right into it. So tip number 1, good makeup starts with good skincare. I don't care who you are. I don't care how clear your skin is. I don't care how good your skin is, how oily it is, how dry it is, nothing. Good skincare is the foundation for good makeup. So make sure that you're doing your full skincare routine. Even if you've had your makeup or your skincare done all day and it's the evening and you haven't had anything on your face, I would still go ahead, wash your face, start fresh. And then what I would say is put some lip balm on so that when you get to doing your lipstick, I just have this Trader Joe's vanilla lip mask on. That way when you get to doing your lipstick, you don't have nasty, crusty girl's lips. What I just put on my face was some e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is a dupe for the Milk Makeup one. This is amazing. I use this on clients as well. This is really good for all skin types. And can you? Wait, I think I saw someone do this before. She's sticky. She's a really good grip. I've never done that actually, but I love how that works. So I just put that everywhere. As for primers, like, there's obviously so many different primers out there. I would say that you can use whatever is for your skin type. So maybe if you have a lot of pores, you could try something like the e.l.f. Putty Poreless Primer, or it's called something like that. I'm going to be using a lot of affordable products in this little tutorial, so that will be good. First product I use is not, or second product I use is not necessarily an affordable one, but I'm just using the Vive Skin Nova Complexion Balm, and I'm applying that with a semi-dense brush. So I would say anything that's a cream, typically you would apply with a more dense brush. So when I say more dense, I mean something like this, right? Something that's not fluffy. This is the opposite of what we'd want to use. This is something that you would use for a powder. If you want your coverage on your foundation to be a bit lighter, you can use a brush that's a little bit less dense. If you want the most from your foundation, use a more dense brush like this one I'm using here. I chose to use a complexion balm. This one's a bit hydrating, and it's winter and I've got some pretty dry skin right now, so I'm just gonna go with that one. I should use a mirror. And make sure always that we're bringing this onto the ears and down the throat. If you like a beauty blender, this is tip number 2, guys. Okay, I feel like a lot of people don't know this, and it's actually wild to me, but the amount of people that I've heard be like, oh, you wet your beauty blender? Yes, my love, yes. Well, this isn't a beauty blender, this is a sponge. Beauty blender is an actual brand, just an FYI. But what you need to do is run this underwater, squeeze, 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 get all the water in there, and it should expand. It should like double in size, and that's when it gets nice and soft and fluffy, and you can pat it in. How I choose which I want to use, brush is for more coverage. Beauty blender is for less coverage. This is gonna suck up a lot of product, and that's not what I'm looking for. I would usually use a beauty blender just to or a beauty sponge to kind of fuse everything together, all my liquid products together. You can, of course, just go over every layer with your sponge, but like I said, I just choose a brush because it gives me more bang for my buck. I get more out of the product that I'm using. Next up, concealer. I'm using this Makeup Revolution IRL Filter Finish. I'm quite happy with this. I know a product is good when it's been repurchased. My skin is really not happy right now, and it's probably because I'm abusing it, and I slept with makeup on the other night, and I truly do not have a skincare routine right now. And I know I just said Good makeup starts with good skin. Now that I have foundation on, I have my first layer of product on. Everything that I do after that first layer is going to be tapping into the skin. With foundation, you can kind of brush it on and then tap it out, whatever. If you're having problems with streaking, that's when you can start tapping in the foundation if you don't have a beauty sponge. But now that I have that foundation on, everything else that goes on top of it needs to be applied in a tapping motion because we can disrupt the products below what we're doing, right? So if I'm not tapping in this concealer, I'm going to be pushing and rubbing and mixing the foundation in, and that is not the goal, is it? So I'm going to do a little tape look because I feel like this is the best for really everybody and anybody, and it's such a good one. It's such a good little hack for a fast eye makeup. So what I'm going to do is lay this down, kind of following my bottom lash line. This is too long. I'm going to cut this. Trigger warning, scissors very close to my eyes. Okay, I have like a hood that comes down all the way. Shout out to aging for doing that to me because that wasn't always like that. But so that's something we need to be mindful of when we're doing our makeup. I have somewhat like hooded eyes, so liquid eyeliner doesn't typically look good on me if I try to wing it out or like pull it out past this eye area. So what I try to do usually is use powders and do like a diffused kind of eyeliner. So that's what we're gonna do today. And this is so good. Like this is such an easy way to do your makeup if you want like a really nice snatched eye look. So I'm going to start by taking a fluffy brush. Again, these are for powders, right? These are blending brushes, these more fluffy ones. I'm going to go into my bronzer. This is such a good hack for really any eye look, specifically good for if you're doing a smoky eye look or anything with darker colors. Personally, I do this for every single eye look I do. Sometimes I just use bronzer as an eyeshadow. But if I'm doing a different eye look, I'm going to take some bronzer and put it just above my crease. This is also good if you don't really feel like wearing eyeshadow, but you kind of want to, one, set your foundation or whatever you might have put on your eyelids. And two, you don't want to look like soulless. You want to look like you have a little bit of color to you. It's also just helpful for like fusing everything together, kind of making everything cohesive. You know, when you put that bronzer on or that contour, it's going to look nice and flowing, you know? So I'm just going to do this kind of messy. I'm staying above the crease here and then I'm just pulling it out a little bit. I'm using a very soft hand to do this. And I know I said everything needs to be tapping. For the eyes, we need to do soft circles. And then we can just bring this in a little bit here. I'm going to do like proper nose contour later. But like I was saying, this is going to flow with like the contour and the bronzing and everything. So if you're going to do a nose contour, and even if you aren't, if you just bring it in a little bit here, it's going to create some definition. I don't think they make this anymore, but Jaclyn Hill products, so good. So good. She discontinued her line, but I actually got this from TK Maxx or TJ Maxx in the US. And this is the color story we're working with. I think it's absolutely incredible. All the shades are really nice and creamy, buttery powders, which I love. I always have a little like cloth or rag or paper towel on my lap so that I can just dust off my brushes. I'm going to take this brush. It's a bit fluffy. It has a bit of like a rounded top and it's not so fluffy, but fluffy enough. Whatever. I don't know why I'm trying to describe it to you like that. I'm going to take a freaking brush with some white eyeshadow on it. This is the lightest one in the palette here. This one, Biscuit. I'm going to take that and I'm going to pat this in below my crease. And I'm going to take it like 3/4 of the way out. I'm kind of giving my brush a little bit of a shake after. It's always a good idea to shake off any fallout, especially if you're using dark colors. You want to give it a tap or a shake so that that powder is not going to get all over your cheeks. The reason I chose to not finish my base makeup before moving on to the eyes is that if I have any fallout, which is when that powder falls down to your cheeks, I don't want that to ruin my makeup. I'm going to take this pointy brush here. And if you don't have these products these tools, trust me, something you have is going to work. Although I say that, some of my friends, I'm like, how do you ever do your makeup with this stuff? When they're like, can you do my makeup? I'm like, yeah, sure. Where's your stuff? And then I see it and I'm like, this shit. I'm going to take this brush, but you could also take something. You can also take something like this. This is for eyebrows. You know, it's got a little spoolie at the end. but it's like a little angled brush that's pretty slim. You can use something like this. I love this brush. I think this is, yeah, Morphe M443. If you are looking for this brush, it's my favorite. It's in my kit, my makeup kit, like my professional kit, and obviously at my kit at home. I'm gonna use blacks. If you find that maybe black is a little too harsh for you, go for a brown. Like I said, this part of my eye comes pretty much all the way down. So this tends to be a bit tricky. Sometimes I'm not happy with it. Sometimes I am. But I'm going to try to do a semi smoked out eyeliner look. I don't know if you can see, but I already have some fallout right here. And when I wipe that, black everywhere. So I'm like rolling this into the black so that I don't have to pat in as many times. Giving it a hit to get that excess off. And then I'm going to just place that in and stamp it on. For me, I like to do my eyeliner only halfway. I feel that this gives my eye shape a more lifted eye look. Okay, I'm going to take this kind of fluffy brush. Is there product on here? Yes, there is. And not, oh, this is why we keep the little towel here so I can just roughly rub it off. I'm just going to go in and kind of fluff this to be a little bit messy, a little bit fused. Okay, while I'm using this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some foundation. So a very good tip is if you have very textured skin, so if you have skin that has maybe acne scarring or you have active acne, it's probably a good idea to use matte products. If you're using shiny products or satin products, satin is good. Satin's like that middle ground. When I say satin, I mean something that's like isn't marketed as matte or glowy. So I would avoid glowy personally if I had textured skin, because what that's doing is it has that highlighter effect to it. If you're putting highlighter all over your face, it's gonna highlight, it's gonna lift every piece of texture that you have. So that's the opposite of what you want to do when you're putting foundation on, right? If you're trying to cover up those imperfections, don't use a product with essentially highlighter in it. If you want your product to last, if you want your foundation to last all freaking day long, I'm gonna say, maybe some people will disagree with me, I don't think that glowy products have the same staying power that matte products do. Of course, you can use setting powder and you can use setting spray, but at the end of the day, I always feel like matte just lasts a little bit longer. I'm just taking that brush I was using with that white shadow earlier just to go over. There's no new product on this. I'm just trying to fuse these out. Okay, this eye look, not perfect. That's the beauty of it though, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Take those off. Bang. Gorge. I don't mind that it's not perfect, especially because I'm going to go in and put a bit of sparkles on in a little bit. So I don't care. Another thing about foundation, if you have super dry skin, go for the glowy ones. Go for something that's a little bit less coverage. Typically, people with dry skin don't have as much acne, so you can get away with those glowy, more like wet products, more hydrating products. If you have really dry skin, definitely go for something like a complexion balm. If not, if you're using matte full coverage products and you have dry skin, it's very likely that that matte product is going to stick on to that skin, those dry patches. Just be mindful with that. When you're using foundation, honestly, personally, under my eye area, I'm not going to go for something super light in color. I'm going to go for something that's more my skin tone. If you're using something super light in color and you have any hollowness, or if you have dark circles under your eyes, you're highlighting them. Remember that lighter colors are for highlighting. Lighter colors are for bringing things to your attention. So you don't want to do that if you have darkness under your eyes or hollowness under your eyes. Last thing about concealer, because I don't know if this is like boring for you guys, but if you have dry skin again, or if you have more mature skin, so you have wrinkles, try not to use something that's really thick under the eye area. I know we want to cover that darkness, but instead of using something thicker or more layers of concealer, try and do some color correcting. So you could get something that's like a salmon color to color correct under your eyes, and then try to put your foundation over that. Color correcting is a whole thing. We're not getting into that, but moving on. I just had to get up to plug my phone in and to make more storage because I had none. I've talked so much already. Oh my God. But I'm going to keep going. So strap in. Let's get back to the eyes. So If you mess up your eye look, or if you're doing this and you feel like they're a bit wonky, you can take a little Q-tip. I'm wetting it with my mouth, whatever. You can use micellar water if you want to be a clean person. I just don't care that much. And you can just tidy up with this. These are not even. I don't care that much. So you can also take a flat brush like this, which is so good for cleaning up your lipstick later as well. But we'll get into that. Dip a bit of concealer in the back of your hand. Tap it in like that. Wipe it off a little. And then you can just go under and tidy up like that. If you have like more soft skin like this, right, like where it can get stuck underneath and wrinkle, just be mindful. Maybe try and give yourself a little stretch and then do it like that. Yeah. Next up, I'm gonna move on. No, I'm gonna do a little bit more on eyes because I feel like it's sparkle season, and this is a good tip. Okay, if you mess up your eyeshadow and you're like, oh my god, this is so patchy, put a little sparkle on it and it will just cover everything up. Or like a shimmer, totally fine. We're going to use our God-given fingers because this is the best way to pick up sparkle. I'm just going to tap into this little gold right here. By the way, this is another great affordable makeup palette. I just got this. I got this in 2 shades. It's the Makeup Revolution palettes. This one is the Enchanted Icon. Really good quality eyeshadows in here. So I'm going to take some of that sparkle on my eye, on my finger here. I'm just going to do it kind of like right in the center of the eye. That was a lot. That was a lot more than I meant to put. And then I'm just going to drag it a little bit up. Your eye makeup placement, it's going to change the shape of your eye. So for me, I did this white on the inner part of the eye, or like 2/3 of the way out, to kind of open the eyes, to brighten the eyes a bit. Using darker colors are obviously going to make the eyes a bit smaller. We know that, right? Like white brings things out and black makes them look smaller. So if you want something that's going to make your eyes look smaller, don't use light colors. Use something a little bit darker. If you want your eyes to look more lifted, you're going to use darker colors on the outer corner of your eyes. If you don't want your eyes to look bigger, don't place light colors right above the pupil, right above that kind of iris area, you know, the area, the color area of your eye. That's going to really open up the eyes because that's going to make the high point of your eyes, this, say this is your eye, yeah? If you put a light color right here, that's going to make that look even bigger, even more open. Another good tip for doing darker colors, if you want to do a bit of a smoky eye and you can't really figure out why it's not giving you that sexy, gorgeous look, and you have eyes that kind of come down the way I do, your eyelid comes down, make sure that you're blending that dark color above that crease a little bit, right? So nice and gentle, start with less, right? You can always add, but it's very hard to take away. So start with less, always dab off your eyeshadow and then try to blend that just above that crease a bit to give yourself that lifted look. Try not to bring makeup down past the outer corner of the eye because that's going to give your eyes a droopy look. Another thing I love to do, I almost always do when I'm wearing makeup, literally every single day of my life, I like to take either a white eyeshadow crayon, or I'll take a really light color on a tiny brush like this. And I'll just put that in the inner corner of the eye. I feel like this really gives that kind of like sweetheart look. I feel like it really brightens up the eye a lot. And this is also so good for like, you don't really want to wear much makeup at all, but you want to look put together and like, you know, not lifeless. Just put a little bit of white on that inner corner of your eye. Okay, I'm taking a mascara that's more focused on length. You've got to find the mascara that works for you. Some that I love that I feel like offer both. I'll give you 3 options right here. So this L'Oreal Paris Telescopic, I believe this one is called. This one's great for length. Lash Paradise, very thick, more of like a chunky one, but really good for volume. And then finally, this L'Oreal Panorama. I think that's a great one for volume and length. A tip I have on mascara as well, don't curl your lashes, get a lash lift because your lash curler is probably breaking the ends of your lashes off. Sorry, I know people probably don't want to sit here that they should go spend more money on another beauty thing, but lash lift, best friend. Also, if you want to be psychotic and do your own lash lift, I have a video of that on my channel, so you can go Cue that. A good little trick to make your lashes longer is to take your mascara wand and push down on top of the lashes, and then of course like go back up so that you're lifting your lashes. Putting that little bit of mascara over the top, it's crazy what a difference it makes. Another tip on mascara is if you get mascara on your skin, right, on your upper lid, this doesn't work with every mascara, okay? So sue me if it doesn't work. If this gets on your eyelid or like under your eye, whatever, leave it there, let it dry. I can't do it right now because I literally just put it on there. It's wet, but you can typically take a spoolie and scratch it off. Such a good tip. Wait till it's totally dry though, or else you'll just make a freaking mess. Another thing is when choosing a mascara for you, take a look. Most brands show a picture of their mascara wands. So if you're someone who always makes a mess on top of your lids with your mascara, you might just be using a mascara that the wand doesn't work for you. Another thing that you can do to avoid that is look for a mascara wand that doesn't have super long, like, I don't even know what to call these, like prongs, spikes, because if they're super long and you're pushing your lashes up, you're gonna get them on your upper lid. Like I have one mascara, oh, like this one. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see how this bit is so tall. If I apply this on my lashes like this, no doubt I'm getting that mascara on my eyelid because those little prongs are so long. So if you feel like that's something you have a hard time with, look for a mascara wand that has smaller prongs and you probably won't make such a mess. Eyebrows, honestly, there's just so much to say. I know I'm talking my little hiney off. There's so much to say about makeup. Like I can't fit everything into one little lesson, guys. But if you like this video, make sure you press the like button and leave me a comment if you want some makeup tutorials. If we want to do like a series of like makeup classes, that could be fun for us. A few options with eyebrows. I'm gonna go through these quick, yeah? Takes 400 different options out. Okay, so first things first, you have a brow mascara. This is obviously for people who have brow hair. If you have like seriously no brow hair, you're probably not going to want to bother with this. Another thing you can do if your brow hair like turns downwards is you can use a soap brow. This is an e.l.f. one. You spray it with setting spray or with water. You put it on a spoolie. You brush it through opposite ways and then you push up and lay it down like that. That's for if your brows don't stay in place. You also have brow pens, which are little pens that you can create hair strokes with, which is so fantastic and so cool. I would say that these are, for some people, a little bit advanced. There is a little bit of a learning curve with these. So if you're not really good at brows, you can try this, obviously, go for it, and practice makes perfect. But those are gonna be a little bit more advanced. Something that's 100% easier is something like this. A nice thick brow crayon. This one you can just easily apply. Use a very gentle hand with it. This one actually has, this is a Rare Beauty one. I really like this product. This one also has a little brow mascara on the other end. And finally, what I would say is the easiest brow that everyone should be able to do is use a powder. This is a Wet n Wild one that I think I've literally had for 15 years. And just fluff it in. Look how easy that is. Right? Just to create a nice little like shadow, a nice little powder brow. We're gonna do contour. So wait, should we go back to this mascara thing and see if this one works? Yes. Look at that. I just scratched it right off. No smudges or anything. Golden. You're welcome. So what's bronzer and what's contour? Contour is typically something that's a little bit cooler toned, which means like, think like gray tone. Not gray, but when we say cool in the industry, it means like blues or purples or pinks. And when we say warm, we mean more like yellows, reds, oranges, okay? So contour is typically something that's a little cooler tone. So contour is more so meant to create shading, whereas bronzer is meant to kind of make it seem like you're bronzed from the sun. I'm going to take a little bit of this just on the back of my hand, and I'm just tapping my brush into it to get it more evenly saturated on the brush. Do you need to do contour and bronzer? No, you don't. Don't be silly, girl. Like I said before, we're going to tap in. We're not going to swipe around because that's going to make an absolute mess. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand, and that's contour, and this is in shade medium. I probably could have gone for the light, but I think the light was like really light, which is why I didn't get it. I like to put some on my forehead. Like I said, I'm not going to do contour and bronzer. We're doing a 2-for-1 here. So I just like to put some in my forehead in areas that the sun would hit, and then get those little jowls here. And I like to bring that all the way up to the jaw just so that this all kind of flows together. And then of course we're gonna pull that down the neck. So what we're doing is trying to create shadows. So you wouldn't want to put your contour or your bronzer super high up. Well, some people do. Some people like their contour bronzer to be really high on the cheek because it's gonna lift the cheek. If you put it down here, that's gonna kind of drag your cheek down. If you feel like you've applied it and maybe you did it a little too low, like I kind of feel like this is a little too low, I'm just gonna take the foundation brush and I'm just gonna tap this in. I didn't put any extra product on there. This is looking a little chunky. I still don't know how I feel about that e.l.f. one, that contour. I haven't decided. I'm obsessed with the highlighter from the same line. Like, this is actually my holy grail. I love this stuff so much. Contour, not sure about it. For blush, I'm using the She Glam blush. I'm in love with this. Look how cute that pink is. And I actually think this is such good quality. Like, it's shocking. It lasts so well. And the colors that they offer are so gorgeous. So I'm going to put this just above the contour bronzer, whatever it is. Also notice that I'm using all liquid products. You've got to be careful if you choose to mix liquid and powder. Make sure that your liquid products, cream products, balm products are set correctly before you try and put any powder over them. If you really want your products to stay in place, you can put a powder over your cream products. That's going to give you like the makeup that does not budge, the makeup that lasts all day long. It might feel like a lot of steps, and it is, but like I said, so you got to do. Girl's got to do what she's got to do. I'm not going to do it today, but if I were to take a powder, I dip into my powder with my nice fluffy brush, and then I tap it in. I would tap my makeup in, and then it will not budge. It's evening. I'm not worried about my makeup staying on too long. We're only going out for a couple hours, but this is what I would do. Very gently tap, and I would not have a lot of product on. I would slowly build that up, especially where you've put that contour on your cheeks, because that tends to be a tricky area. That tends to be the area that the products move the most. Highlighter, I'm gonna use this gorgeous Halo Glow e.l.f. one, and I'm just gonna put that on the high points of my cheek. What I do when I put my blush on is usually go up the temples a little bit. So I'm just keeping this on the high points of the cheek. I'm not going to touch this smile line area because that's not an area I want to highlight. Look. Oh my God, I love that so much. It's so gorgeous. This light is freaking out right now. Okay, stunning. I can just tap a little bit under my brow bone here, a little bit on my temples here. I'm just gonna do a powder bronzer for my nose contour because I'm in a bit of a rush. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this on my eyeshadow brush, actually, that I used earlier. I like to just lightly tap this under the nose area. And this is what I would do like for everyday contour as well. So I'm going under the nose area because it's going to give me a more lifted look, right? And then that's going to make the tip of my nose look higher, which is going to give me that, like, I don't have, as you can see, I don't have like that ski slope nose, but I kind of like it. So I'm going to add a little bit of bronzer under the nose. Again, tapping off that brush. And then I'm going to go do 2 parallel lines down the bridge of my nose, leaving like a little bit of a negative space down the middle. And then I'm gonna try and make like a little bit of a circle here. And this is gonna help with that little like ski slope nose, right? Because it's gonna make a shadow here. So it's gonna make it seem like this part of my nose actually doesn't catch any light because it doesn't stick out. I was just looking at myself thinking, this looks weird. Is the lighting weird? No, it's the fact that I didn't put my other eyebrow on because I was chatting away. One more thing about brows that I always do, I always just run through them with a spoolie. My mirror is so far away. I might be looking a little bootleg, but... Next, I'm going to set my makeup. Normally, honestly, like I said, when I make a video, I'm like so distracted. I feel like I do stuff like out of order completely, but I would normally do a setting spray before I do my mascara because sometimes it can wet the lashes and that will get on the, like if I look up or like whatever, it will get on my eyelids. I do want to set my eye makeup though, so I'm just going to spray and hope for the best and try not to look up. Normally I would do a lot of layers of setting spray. Like I would spray, if I'm working on a client, I'll spray after foundation, I'll spray after contour, after blush. Like I will spray so much because it's just gonna hold that makeup in place. Okay, the beauty blender, we can play with that now. So we're gonna tap under the eye. It looks like I don't have many creases, but if I did have creases, I would take either my beauty blender, my beauty sponge. If you don't have a beauty sponge, you can just take your finger and you can just tap under the eye. What's next? Next, we're gonna do a little lash. I already have my lashes peeled off. These are the ones we're gonna use. I do have a lash video, so I'm not gonna go like super into detail on this. Yeah, I'm just gonna glue these on real quick. Like I said, I did a whole video on lashes, so if you want some tips on that, I do really recommend watching that video because it is quite helpful to understand like why your lashes might not slay for you. But they can. Everybody can look good with lashes. You just have to make sure that you're doing them right. I'm going to put these on. I'll be right back. Okay, lashes are on. I realized that I forgot to put powder on. Typically, I like to put powder on before I put my lashes on because I don't want to get any powder in the lashes. It's fine. I'm not using a loose powder. I'm using a pressed powder. So this is what I'm going to use for a setting powder. This is the Maybelline Fit Me. This is the powder foundation. I think they did actually make a setting powder because people were using this as a setting powder and they were like, let's make money off this. This one works just fine. And this adds a little bit more coverage. I'm gonna use a powder puff. If you don't have a powder puff, you can just use your beauty sponge. It's fine if it's a little bit wet. By the way, beauty sponge, squeeze out all the way. Like this is not wet. This is hardly damp. I use a towel to squeeze out the excess water, but yeah. I feel like I should have said that at the beginning, but here we are, babe. Here we are. So the difference between a loose powder, which is something like this, like a powder that's actually loose, and this type of powder, this you can use for baking, the loose one. So that's when people pack the powder on and let that sit. If you're someone with dry skin, don't bother. You're going to make a mess for yourself. You're going to make all those dry spots visible and we don't want that. So for the dry girlies, we go for pressed powder. For the oily girlies, you can go for loose powder. If you're someone with combination skin, you can use a loose powder in those areas that are typically more oily, and you can bake in those areas that are typically more oily. So I'm going to take my little puff and I'm just going to pat this into place. I'm going to just tap my finger over the concealer and foundation to make sure I don't have any creases before I apply this, because if we're setting when we have creases, those creases are going to stay, aren't they? So I'm going to use the flat side of this just to go up my nose a little bit and enhance that nose contour. And really just pack that down. I'm going to do my lip area because I'm using a lip liner that's not like a long wear lip liner, so I don't want that to move. And then for under the eyes, I'm tapping into this with the tip of this. And then if you're worried or if you are dry, I would recommend you tap it on the back of your hand and then just pack it in. I like to do my T-zone under my eyes, under my contour line, and then we'll just get the center of the forehead to carry on with that T-zone area. Let's do lip liner. I'm using one from Ulta. If you like a lip liner, but you're a little bit scared for how like intense it looks, you can always apply your lipstick first and then do the lip liner, and it'll give you more like of a softer lip line look. This is a super creamy lip liner. This is from Ulta, like Ulta Beauty Collection. And this one's in the shade Spice. I applied that really fast. I'm very proud. Usually that takes me ages. So I'm going to use that kind of like brown shade, and then I'm going to take a pink shade. And I'm going to use my finger to dab this in. If you feel like you have super dry lips, again, put lip balm on at the beginning of doing your lips. Don't use matte products. Unfortunately, it's just going to stick to those, like if you have like flaky dry, because it's just going to stick to those flaky bits and you're not going to be able to cover it. You can use more like satin products like this. I wouldn't really call matte because it does, if you move, you can still kind of see like a little bit of a shine. Obviously gloss is the best, or like a shiny lips lip color is going to be the best if you have like super dry, flaky lips. If you want your lip color to stay forever, mattes are the best though, I will say. You can always use a matte lipstick on the outside of your lips. Take a piece of toilet paper or paper towel, whatever, bite onto it like that to take off the excess, and then you can put like a more satin or more hydrating lip color in the center of your lips. You mess up your lipstick, or if you want those lines to be like super crispy, where did I put my little thing? We're gonna take our little flat brush. I really don't want to do this right now, but for you guys I'm going to. So I'm gonna take this brush, right, with a little bit of concealer on it. We're just gonna go on the outer corners, and once you do like one side, just give it a wipe off and then move on to the other side. And that's just going to be such a good way to like tidy up your lip liner. And like I said, you can do it in the under eye area as well. I'm going to get dressed and I'll be right back. Personally, I don't wear my earrings when I'm doing my makeup because like I said, I'm putting that foundation like all the way on my ears and that powder and stuff. And like, I don't want to dirty them or like take away the brilliance of them. Another thing, do not get dressed before you do your makeup. The amount of times I've ruined my clothes trying to like be cute in a video doing my makeup. This is why I'm upset that I lost the clips, because I didn't have enough time to like be like, oh, look at the makeup, isn't it so cute? I hope you enjoyed the makeup video. I know this is a very abrupt ending, but like I said, I lost the clips, so it is what it is. I hope you guys enjoyed. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you click the little like button if you enjoyed this video. If you want us to do a makeup lesson series, like not just tutorials where I do everything, but maybe like focus more on like, this is how you do contour. Like, I don't know, this is how you do different eye looks. I don't know, guys, you tell me. I don't know what you want. But yeah, thanks for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. And I will see you in the next one. Happy holidays. Bye.